2023, and the cash and cash equivalent of, that is as at 30th June. So the error occurred instead of I recording 23,701,776. I recorded 22,981,776. So it's a difference of 1.3 million, Chair, and I regret it. This is a mistake that will never occur again. Thank you.
But you should, those details you are giving us, about 1 million and not 22 million, they are not in your response. Your response is very brief, just regretting the error and saying going forward such errors will not go uncorrected.
In the amendment copies, Chair. In the amendment copies.
Chair, maybe on indulgence, the fund manager is talking as if 1.3 is little money. I think it's a very serious money. Or he has a lot of money until 1.3 is small money to him. So can he apologize for telling Kenyans that 1.3 is small money? It's a lot of money that can construct almost 2 ECD classrooms.
Yeah. Proceed.
Chair, I apologize. It is not 1.3. It's not a loss, Mr. Chairman. The only problem is that it was a human error that I recorded. But it doesn't really affect the cash and cash equivalent.
But, you know, Chair, you cannot say it's human error. You remember when Uhuru committed error when he was the Minister of Finance? It was a serious error. So it's not about being human error. If it is human error, then you should have resigned. Because we cannot, if everything we take as human error, then we fail in the duty of due diligence, Chair, in our offices. Because, Chair, this difference, to many people, 1.3, this clerical error that is dismissing, is a serious issue. We have established not about capacity, it's not an availability of all these issues. So can he either apologize and be ready for the sanctions by the committee in their report, and then the matter rests there. But the more he talks about human error, all of us would be feigning human error in everything we do, and the whole country will collapse.
Chair, before maybe he apologizes, when was the correction submitted? Was it submitted when the auditors were still on the ground, or it was a late submission? And what does the law say about late submission?
That one, the auditor will respond to that. But I think, Mr. Kembo, you can respond to Senator Cherengei through the governor, and then auditor can respond to your query.
Chair, I began by saying I regret the error, the human error. I said I apologize for committing that human error. Thank you, Chair.
Auditor?
Chair, we got the corrections of this on Friday, on 18th of August. That's like a week ago. But the audit was done some times back. The Auditor General's report was signed on 30th December 2024. So I don't know, but still it remains straight submission.
Chair, can legal read again about late submission, what the law says?
Legal.
Through you, Chair, there is Section 47 of the Public Audit Act on the time limit for submission of accounts, whereby financial statement required under the Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act, and any other legislation shall be submitted to the Auditor General within 3 months after the end of the fiscal year to which the accounts relate. And then the financial statement shall be in the form and content as prescribed by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. And then the penalties, the offenses on late submission is under Section 62 of the Public Audit Act. Under subsection 1, it reads that a person shall not, and then paragraphs B and C, without justification, fail to provide information required under this Act, and without justification, fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under this Act. And subsection 2, the penalty, a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offence and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or to both. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, I think you have heard, and that is one of the issues that Senator Cherengei had pointed out, that in our recommendation we can sanction you, and not just for your membership of this bank, but also we can invoke section 2 of the Public Audit Act. So that one committee is going to look at it at the report writing stage to make a decision on that. But I also want to say that we have realized that why we have these simple errors is because the senior accountants do not actually prepare the financial statement. The people who prepare the financial statement are junior accountants who are not even members of ISPAC. And then because it is a requirement that ISPAC member signs, they give it to you and you sign without verifying the contents of the report. And that's why we get in here. So, Mr. Kemboi, are you the one who prepared the financial statements? Yes, sir. Use the mic.
Yes, sir. I'm the one who did the...
You need to tell us the truth, because the truth will set you free.
It is me, sir.
Because if such a matter is reported to ISPAC with your high qualification and training, you will be asked the same question and you will not be able to defend yourself well. So you are on record that you are the one who prepared the financial statement.
I participated, sir.
Members
Chair, can I ask a question? CPA through the chair, and I think in future, Chair, in this committee, with tremendous respect, when you have a senior officer of the county, they should take an oath, because when you will be writing to the ISPAC, you can attach the answer and they have taken an oath so that they don't lie. It's a fact that most of these are prepared by junior accountants. So CPA Julius Kemboi, how long have you been serving in Nandi County and how long have you been practicing?
I was there before, even before the devolution. I was at the municipality and then transferred to the devolved government.
So how long have you been an accountant? Your professional life?
For almost around 20 years, but now when fully registered with the ISPAC is around 5 years, around 4-5 years.
So your initial training was not accounts through the chair?
It was accounts.
So 5 years ago, but you are still committing errors. Chair, I think as I yield the ground, we can rest that there and leave to the wisdom of the committee to consider what the witnesses are submitted on record. Thank you.
Okay, so I think the committee will make a decision on that matter, maybe at the report writing stage. We want to encourage the accountants to do their work very professionally and not what we are seeing, where we have a lot of errors in financial statements. Sometimes we may have the devil hiding in the errors. Yeah, so that's why we should discourage that issue of accounting errors and misstatements and inaccuracies. So I hope, Governor, you will help us by, as your CC has said, to strengthen your accounting team so that moving forward, we do not have this kind of errors appearing. But that does not mean that we are not going to make a decision on that matter. As a committee, we will, so that the matter of late submission of document and the matter of accounting errors are fully addressed. Any other issue, members, on that? So, Auditor, how are you hoping to deal with this issue moving forward in terms of correction of errors?
Chair, we are working on the 2024-25 reports. I hope that, I believe that they have addressed those issues in this report we are auditing.
Mark?
Maybe mine as a recommendation the committee can make is that the client in future, in compliance with the Audit Act, is able to respond to these issues at the time of audit, especially when it responds to the ML, so that these issues don't escalate to the certificate stage. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I think we are also going to keenly watch the financial report for 2024-2025. And by the way, you have only how many days? By 31st. The financial statements for 2024-2025 should have been submitted to OH. With the changes. Have you received?
Chair, we have received these financial statements and the team is on the ground auditing.
Okay, so we will, I think the clerk, you need to note the linkage of 2023-2024 to 2024-2025. Query number 2, recognition of cash expenses in accrual-based reporting framework. Again, this is similar accounting issue, but anyway, Auditor, proceed and read the query.
Thank you, Chair. The fund reports transactions in financial statements in a accrual-based reporting framework. However, review of transactions revealed that expenses were recognized on cash basis. During the year under review, the fund presented these financial statements on an accrual basis. Recognition of expenses incurred contradicts the accrual-based reporting framework adopted by the fund. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Honorable Chair, at the close of the financial year, all the expenditure by the fund had been paid. There were therefore no accrued expenses that required disclosure in the financial statements. The principles of accrual accounting have been applied to the extent applicable in the rest of the disclosures in these financial statements. Thanks.
Auditor, what is your comments on the management response?
Of course, Chair, that's a valid response for the lack of accrued expenses at the year end. This explanation at least addresses the audit query, as an entity with no outstanding payables at the reporting dates could not have accruals to report. Therefore, Chair, in our consideration, at least it was addressed.
Any comments on query?
Is this the last query we are discussing? Or is there another query?
On
This is the last one, on this particular one.
Then there will be another issue, which is not a query, but
that's the
legal issue.
That's the one I wanted to raise. So maybe.
Okay, proceed.
I proceed. Thank you, Chair. At least I can revisit the earlier one by just maybe advising the accountant that these are errors. When you are in good standing and you're active, you should not embarrass the governor because of small issues. And you have time with the auditors to resolve those particular issues so that it doesn't reach our level. Secondly, Chair, I wanted to find out from the governor, because this particular fund is under their own law.
And there is a law that we passed last year, the FIF, that says that each of the hospitals should have its own fund. And the chair was, during the preliminaries, we were saying, suppose you have 20 or 30 or so level 4 and level 5 hospitals, how practical is it to have that number of funds instead of consolidating? You know, now that we have seen Nandi have one, maybe we wanted to find out from the governor, how do you see what you are running currently, where you have one fund under all your hospitals, and what has been passed as a national law? So is there a conversation that you've started as a Council of Governors on the same?
The governors will prepare to answer that question. You know, now auditors are now processing audit report for each individual hospital as an entity, as an accounting entity. So or maybe you can explain to us how you bearing that in mind, because the idea about auditing each hospital as an independent entity is that all the revenues will be recognized in that hospital as such. So now, how are you going to run this FIF, county FIF, with the new arrangement of the law, and also what the auditor is doing by auditing each individual hospital?
Chair, you will remember that when Parliament was considering this national FIF law, one of the concerns that we had raised as Council of Governors then was that counties already, and I think we were over 30 counties already that had FIF, county FIF laws. And therefore we had raised this matter, but once you as a parliament took a decision, it is the responsibility of we in counties to just comply with the decision, and therefore we are in the process of amending our own FIF laws to agree with the national legislation that you passed. However, we think that that there is no harm operating in the same manner as prescribed by the FIF national legislation, because every entity is being audited on its own. They are able to generate their own resources, and they are able to plow the same resources or budget the same resources and expend at the facility. So for us, really, whereas the current county, the Nandi County FIF law is one law for the county referral hospital and all the level 4, we think that the approach or the law that was passed by this house is practical, and that is exactly we are transiting to implement. And in any case, as you indicated, the OAG are auditing each entity on their own, so it makes a lot of sense for us. So we are actually sort of transitioning and operating within the national legislation that you as Parliament have passed, and it is working. In fact, it is.
Senator Tobiko.
Chair, thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the question by Senator Gov.Sang, if I got it right, I think it's not in terms of the audit, but in terms of service delivery. He was asking if the FIF can be done like collectively, so that any facility that's facing challenges, that is struggling, that is not self-sustaining, can be kind of cushioned by a facility that's doing well. I think that's where he's coming from.
I think it's a bit difficult to it would, and I'm just responding this from where I sit now. It's difficult to get resources from one facility and support another facility, because the amount of resources being generated in a facility means that the volume of the patients they are receiving and everything is, it's based on the service delivery they are providing. Some of the facilities that are not able to sustain themselves, it is what we are providing resources in the county budget to support those facilities. So we really want to encourage that every facility that generates, they are able to plow the resources, because it actually means there is demand for those services in those facilities. Then the county budget can just supplement some of those facilities that are not able to run. And in any case, in fact, if you are to be honest, you are unlikely to have a facility that has surplus, because even in a facility that looks like they are doing very well, the county is still paying for the staff, is still paying for the medical, the human resource. Therefore, really, you can't say that there is a facility that is actually generating surplus to give to another facility. We backstop that with the county budget.
Sure, I know this is not a query, but if you allow me, I'll ask the governor. How is the payments from SHA to the hospitals? Are you receiving your payments in time from SHA to the hospital facilities, or are they in arrears?
They are still in arrears, but there is huge improvement from what we had previously. So if you look at what was happening under NHIF and what is happening under SHA, there is marked significant improvement. However, there is still some delay, and it's part of what I think we have also raised with the health committee, that the process of making claims in
and to help, the patients do the test and the likes. So we must ensure that the 4 pieces of legislation that you approved in this House, that we ensure that they are all implemented so that the entire ecosystem in terms of health service delivery is achieved. So that would be helpful that this House also follows, since you actually approve those legislations.
Any other comment on that? I think if there is no any more comments, honorable members, we will proceed to the report on Bursary.
Chair?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Another matter on budget performance.
But we, in our pre-meeting, we skipped that.
But I would want to ask a few questions because it's very critical and it's part of the documents.
Okay, just,
that has been
just
provided.
a moment. I allow the auditor. He had matter related to what we were discussing.
Yes,
Then
Chair. Thank you, Chair. Mine was in relation to the FIF Act of 2023, which commencement date was November 2023. And implementation of that act might require the winding up of this fund because each facility will have its funds. So maybe, Chair, they can comment on that because if they still operate as they are, it will be an audit query in 24-25. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, on budget performance, and I can see from the, I'm following your report that that was submitted before this committee on this issue. And just a few questions to the governor. Because, Chair, you just moved away from FIF Act, which is used to collect revenue for the hospitals to be sustainable in terms of provisions that they provide at that level. So, Governor, the following questions, I can see there was an under collection. Maybe, Kashanja, I don't know the revenue. Do we have a fiscal analyst? What is the revenue potential of Nandi County? Maybe, Chair, one of your staff, Jabari, or who deals with it? The revenue potential, the CRA revenue potential, number one, at least can the Secretary. Chair, number two, I have seen that there is, I am picking from what Senator Gov.Sang, Senator Tobiko said, and Senator Kavindu said about the facilities being self-sustained. If you look at the report on the fund administrator by the infamous CPA Julius Kimboy, there is a missed target, Governor. For example, in Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, you had projected to collect 239 million, but you ended up collecting 155 million. In Nandi Hills, the target was 40 million, you collected at 1 million. That's a slight difference of 9 million. In Meteitei Sub-County Hospital, your target was 13.2 million, but you ended up collecting 5.4 million. In Kaptuma Sub-County Hospital, you targeted 18.8 million, but you collected 7.114 million. In Mosoria Sub-County Hospital, your target was 7.9, you ended up collecting 5.1. Kabiet Sub-County Hospital, your target was 12.1, but you ended up collecting 4.3. In Chepterwai Sub-County Hospital, your target was 5.9 million, but you ended up a paltry 2.9 million. According to the auditor report, this was a mid-target of non-collection of 41%. I have seen the results that has been advanced by you, because by the fact that you are the one submitting this report, you allude to 2 results. And that is where my questions will come from. That there were health workers strike, and hence there was no revenue. So you need to justify before this committee how many times did the nurses, and I remember when there was supposed to be industrial action, you are on record on several occasions that you have averted by negotiating with the unions. Then why does it become a reason? Number 2, you say there was delay in supply and delivery of medical commodities, especially drugs, to hospitals. But on record, you have always insisted that there is enough drugs in a hospital. So why are you advancing a contradicting statements, yet you are doing under collection? And now you yourself, you have said on record, if the facility does not collect as per the FIF Act, it might not end up to be sustainable. That is my question one. Question number two, in chapter Y, and let me pick Kapsabet and chapter Y. Kapsabet, the newborn mother unit, is yet to be complete up to now. So what is the implication of collection of this target that you are projecting? And number two, in chapter Y, the project that you are doing is not yet complete or installed. Does it affect the projection of your revenue? That will be my question number two, Chair. Number three, I thought you have said, because I've seen your own source revenue report, that the collection of revenue has been automated. Is it true that in facilities that I've mentioned from Kapsabet, Nandi, Metete, Kaptumo, Mosoriat, Kabiet, Chapter Y, do they have an automated system of collection of revenue? That will be my number three. And I hope, Governor, you are noting so that it is easy for you to answer. Let me finish with this, Chair. And I want to look at their documents which they are provided. Chair, this will be my final question, Governor, on the use of goods and services. I find it interesting in your expenses, which are necessary. For example, you in use and goods, that is not number 7 in your financial statements. And I hope your staff are kind enough to show you that is page 19, not number 7 on your financial statements. You did general expenses of 2.1 million. You went ahead and did printing and stationery of 4.5 million. General office expenses, you or 2.1, I hope chair members are noting this, and then you go ahead and do printing and stationery at 4.5 million. Then you go ahead and do computer accessories at 1.2 million. So when you talk about general office expenses, what do you mean? Because for me, and then interesting expenses, Governor, that you have done, you have catering of 3.4 million. So I assume people take chai and mandazi, with noting that in your financial statement, which belongs to the in food and ratios, is 4.2. As chair, you are spending 3.4 million, which doesn't. Another expenses which I find it unfortunate is the health celebrations. I don't know whether you are. And then chair, that's why I will need convincing the sustainability of those. Chair, and I hope members will bear with me. Subscription, no, sorry, that is okay. You are spending almost a quarter of 800,000. You are spending on airtime, telephone, and communication expenses of 400,000. Chair, you now have visited a number of facilities, including the latest at Combe Dispenser, and they have a challenge with water. So all this, Chair, I have told Governor, in your is understandable, the issue of fuel and oil. Clerical error came, by the way, because you are saying fuel and oil for transport 2.6 million. You say fuel for production 815,000. So, Chair, I have total unnecessary expenses comes to around 12.2 from general office expenses, catering, health. And I found an interesting thing, Chair. Outsource consultancy services. 176,000. Who are these people? Mean you have professional? Does it mean Nandi County and your chief officer of health is here? Does it mean Nandi County lack? Is why you are outsourcing consultancy services, where you are paying in one financial year 776,000. So, Chair, you can look in unnecessary and unfortunate expenses. It comes to more than 13 million Kenyan shillings, which comes to almost half of pharmaceutical supplies of 26 million. That is why the governor has argued that there is delay. Governor, what is the justifiable reasoning or spend these 12 million in health celebrations, in general office expenses, in computer accessories, in airtime, in professional consultancy? And Maku, I will assist by guiding you that when you talk about catering, there is already a provision of food and ratio, which I assume this is one is being supplied to the patients of 4.6. Even if you are to say doctors and nurses are consuming 3.4, they are almost consuming the same as the patients, yet the patients are much more. So that will be my third and final question. Shall I yield the ground?
So many questions. I don't know whether, Governor, you are writing down all of them.
But I requested, Chair, if you had, I requested him to write it down.
Chair, I think that, and maybe we just need guidance, analyzing the details of a budget was not an audit query. If we needed those details and the Senator wants those details and the committee
Chair, on point of order, on Article 229(4), it says the Parliament shall consider.
Kindly allow me to talk. You have had your bite.
No,
Please.
No, Chair, can I ask so that?
Just give order. Let Governor respond.
Yeah.
And then I will give you a chance to reply again.
So, Chair, when we are invited into a forum in this committee, we come specifically to address ourselves to specific questions and specific issues. Details of analyzing the, item by item of the budget, there is a whole process of how a budget is arrived at. It's not a decision of the governor. The budget is not done by the governor. It is done by various institutions, including public participation, including the county assembly, and therefore the details of those discussions of this one and this and this, if then the senator needs details on those ones, and we are communicated in respond, so that we can be able to give specific responses to each of those questions. But really, if you look at what we came, the audit queries, we are here to respond. If we allow that kind of questioning, then, I might then require to have a whole team, but also in what the Senator has raised, valid as they are with us in writing, we can be able to respond to all those issues. But really, it would be fair that we are able to deal with audit queries as such, and, on the basis of what I was invited to come and respond to, than really to go on, on a mission that, again, I am able to respond on top of my head on those issues. Yet, we have a whole team and a whole process and a procedure how budgets are done. I may even find when a budget is done, even if you have concerns as a governor that maybe this should have been, that is why it is, we provide a budget that goes to the assembly, it goes through based on the input of the public, and the budget finally is approved. It may not be exactly what the governor had provided for. So really, let's just be fair so that it doesn't look like this budget is drawn expected by the governor. And if we want to have a discussion on the budget and, the entire budget line by line, I think a better forum, should then be availed so that then we can have that discussion. So, Chair, I think let's just be fair in terms of what needs to be responded.
I think what Senator Cherajai was doing was that the query on budget and performance, it showed there were variances between what was budgeted and what was actually spent. So what he was trying to analyze is actually the financial statements that and linking it to that query. That maybe the expenditure was varied from the budget because of the transactions that are listed here. So I think he was struggling to try and link that to the budget performance. But anyway, let me give him a chance to respond.
Chair,
and then
I think you have captured partly what I asked. I was just looking at the budget performance and control. And even I asked a basic question to the governor. Do we need hiring of consultancy services? You should have said we don't have a gynecologist, for example, or oncologist, and say that's the reason we pay. It is a simple question. So, Governor, Chair, what can happen if the governor would want to respond on budget priority that are on his own financial statements, then the committee can write a letter to him. But my other questions the governor has avoided is even a simple question, revenue collection from Kapsabet all the way to Kaiboi hospitals, are they automated? Governor, do we need a meeting? I thought it's a yes or no, and which company is doing the collection? I thought that was a very fair question. And another question was why you are missing your targets in terms of revenue collection. And then number three, Chair, because we are on budget performance and control, is on the issue of priority. My question, Governor, the reason I was giving an examples of your own audit, and I know your fund manager is there, is I was asking, do we need to spend in your own financial statements, which is not generated by the Senate or OAG, do we need a priority of 13.1 million as opposed to 26 million that we are using to buy drugs? And then finally, Chair, Governor, the committee can write and request for details on those line-by-line budget. So, Governor, you are arguing before this committee in Article 229, Parliament shall consider reports from OAG. Then, Governor, why should we have this meeting if you write written submissions and you don't need to appear before this committee? Because if we cannot ask clarification in consideration process to process our audit reports that will be tabled, then why should we have a meeting? Is it necessary? So if you can answer the 4 questions on the budget line, the committee can write, then you can respond. But can you respond on the issue of collection of revenue, the target that you have missed, the issue of priority, and the issue of the automation? And I ask a very basic question. You and me know that, and Chair, it is on record, and it is on the audit report of 23-24, that you had most of your stole hospitals. And I was asking, could it be the reason that you are conducting? Because newborn mother and baby in Kapsabet is yet to be finished. Your own hospital, which is in Kobuja, is yet to be finished. Kapsengere is yet to be finished. Chepterwai is yet to be finished. And it is in the audit report, which is part of this consideration. And I was asking, could it be the reason why you are missing your revenue target and therefore affecting the budget performance, which is part of the audit query? So for the governor to say the issue of budget is not an audit query is misleading this committee, because one of the audits that are here is on the budget performance and control. So can he answer the questions, or if he doesn't want to answer, we can leave it at that.
Well, maybe I can give your point is well noted, Senator. Your point is well noted.
Chairman,
yes.
nobody has underplayed the importance of appearing before the Senate. But also, we could come here and we have a whole discussion on literally everything under the sun. It is possible. But I think for effective utilization of the time before the committee, the order has been that then you come and respond to audit queries. And that is my simple thing. I'm not saying that what he's asking is not, but get a forum for us to discuss those ones so that we have those details. But
Chair,
then if you discuss,
these are audit queries.
Why don't you listen?
It is on the audit report.
Yeah. Let him finish.
Unless the governor, sorry, Chair, unless I didn't get him right. I thought the governor has a benefit of the audit report. The questions I'm asking is emanating from the budget.
If the senator can spend more time listening, because he is speaking, and when I am responding, he is speaking.
I'm active listener. And I think governor is taking this meeting casually. Because the questions I'm raising, to be fair, even members here, is I'm asking valid question, is our systems of collection of revenue.
Okay, let me direct this.
Yeah.
We have our the issue here is the query on budget control and performance, and the senator is trying to relate this to the financial statement. So we and then draw a parallel with that query of budget control and performance. Then the committee at report writing stage will make a decision on that matter. Because I'm saying we are going to spend a lot of time on this back and forth.
Chair, maybe with fiscal analysts, what is the revenue potential of Nandi? Under CRL.
Thank you, Senator. Through the chair, based on the latest report they gave, that is a report on the year 2022, states that Nandi County potential was around 4,353,000,000. That is based on that report. However, as a county specific, based on their target for the year under review, the target was 558,329,869, and they collected 307 million, which is appropriation is around 55% based on what their target and what they actually collected. Thank you, Chair.
That is the reason, Chair. That's why I was asking, because even when you look at the overall all source revenue, they are still missing the target, just the potential. And maybe, Chair, so that we close that question. So does it mean Governor will not answer my questions? So that I leave it, I know how to pursue.
No, I think what the governor is implying,
yes.
He had prepared to respond
to. Chair, let me ask you a simple. I have just asked, is our systems automated? Does it need to prepare? It is something basic. No. It's a yes or no. And then you consultant services, I have asked, do we have oncologists, for example? He can say, no, that is the reason we hire. Chair. So it's simple.
Okay, let us allow him.
Chair, we can write a whole letter, and then he can come and answer another day, if that will assist him to answer.
No. Let us allow the governor to take quality time to give an explanation, and then we move. Because
so, Chair, I will respond to the issues that touch on our appearance here. On the question of automation, yes, all our revenue collection processes are automated. 2, consultancy services, we provide radiology services in Kapsabet. We do not have, radiologists and certain other consultants that we have to pay consultancy services for them to provide those services. So we have those categories of specialists that we do not have, that we have to outsource their services. In terms of the various projects that are ongoing within the county, FIF is not financing, the various infrastructure projects that are ongoing. They are being supported or they are being funded by the county budget. FIF largely targets the resources that are being raised within the hospital from the services that we offer, and the same money goes to the services and goes to supporting the continuity of those services. So there are no infrastructure projects like the ones that you have mentioned that are being funded by this. Chair, in terms of prioritization and budget, rationale, I think that is a discussion that we are happy to engage if the details are given in terms of what the senator wants to know, and we can be able to respond to those ones.
I think, Chair, the governor did not get me very well with a lot of indulgence to the Chair. I didn't mean that. I'm aware FIF does not fund infrastructure. I was saying this matters has been raised, and I was trying to tie up that could it be the reason we are missing revenue target by 41% in collection of revenue within the health facilities. I didn't mean that you are using FIF to fund, because we know the law. So that does it affect the performance of collection of revenue within the health facilities within Nandi?
No, it does
just
not.
My simple question.
It does not.
No. Yeah, I think we need to make progress. As I directed, your issue that you have pointed out, we will allow the fiscal analyst to analyze it further and give us a report as a committee. Senator.
I think I hear the frustrations of Senator Cherekai, but I think you should just direct that even if the governor was not ready today, he can respond back with a letter, can write back with the answers. Thank you.
Oh, we will wait for the fiscal analyst to give us a report, and then based on that report, then we can write to the governor. Senator Chimera, put yourself on record.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon, Governor and your team. My name is Senator Chimera, Senator from Kwale County, member of this committee.
Maybe before we end, we have a last query there, which members thought that they just need some direction from the governor on what the county is doing to address it. Lack of an internal audit function and audit committee for this fund. Governor, maybe you can tell us more about it.
So, Chair, the internal audit function was affected by a staff audit process that was ongoing in Nandi County, and we are saying that that internal audit unit would be serving the county, but also all the funds under being run by the county government. And therefore, we are as I have indicated, the management is actively coordinating with Public Service Board to prioritize and facilitate the deployment of dedicated internal auditor to the FIF section at the earliest opportune time possible. And going forward, the fund will rely on the expertise of the audit committee, which has been constituted at the county level.
Okay, Mark, I would like to hear from you. Your comment on that issue.
Yes, Chair. That one is it's a requirement under the PFM that each facility has, each fund or each entity has its own internal audit function. But maybe, Chair, maybe the question then I would want to ask is if going forward the implementation of FIF Act 2023 may require the dissolution of this fund, maybe the governor may need to have internal audit function in each hospital, because then it will be an audit query in 24-25 if there's no internal audit in each of the facilities. And maybe the continued existence of this fund also may raise another audit query in terms of implementation of FIF 2023. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, maybe Governor, you see now, that's why we were saying at some point you may need to relook at this. They're very expensive. But because the law insists it will continue being an audit query. So there are so many things that are pulling the FIF and maybe just comply with the national FIF. Senator Cherige?
I think, Chair, Governor, when was this staff audit? Which year? When were you doing staff audit?
Last year.
2024. And there is a public service report to that effect.
Yeah.
So my question is, this matter was raised two financial years ago in 22-23. 23-20, is it 23-24? So, and you know these internal audit mechanisms play a critical role of oversight. So we are in August of 2025. Are there any minutes that OAG has seen with your intention of establishing an internal audit committee? Is there any minutes that has been considered and has been shown to the OAG for particular, because Chair, this audit is important because it plays oversight to the funds. That if it does this work, these matters cannot be raised or escalated to even OAG or even, and you know this oversight should have even assisted CPA fund manager by looking at some of the lapses. So, Governor, before you did staff audit, is there a means to show the intention of establishing this internal audit committee?
No, the internal audit committee is there. What was affected are the staff under the internal audit department function in the county, but the audit committee exists.
That there was lack of internal audit function and audit committee in your audit report. Are you aware of this existence of this audit committee? Because there should be minutes of them sitting, doing their job, their allowances being paid. I have seen 1.5 million. I don't know whether it's part of the audit in their financial statements. Through the chair.
Proceed, Governor.
It was to the OAG first.
OAG, please.
Because the governor has said it exists, but in your report you doubt the functionality and existence.
Chair, for this report, we were just pointing out that there is no committee for the FIF, but there is the main committee in the hospital. That's in the county, I mean. There is the audit committee, but for this one, there is none.
But through the chair, during your discussion with the entity, did you indicate to them the need to have the audit committee, and did they show any intention of even giving you minutes of meetings to establish the said committee?
We discussed about it during the audit, but we don't have any minutes to that effect.
So as of now, within the knowledge of your work, it is non-existent. So, Chair, I think the committee will rule on this matter when they are writing their report.
Yes. Okay, very well. So I think we proceed to the next fund, which is the Bursary Education Fund. Over to you, Auditor. You take us through the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Education Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. The first issue, Chair, is presentation and the disclosure of the financial statements. The financial statements presented for audit was not page numbered according to the requirements of the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, whereby the page where the financial statement starts with page 29 instead of page 1. Thank you, Chair.
I think in our pre-meeting, honorable members, we said that the query on presentation and disclosure of financial statement and the query on misstatement of bank charges account and the query on misstatements in cash book be handled together because they have an element of accounting inaccuracies and errors and such. So, Auditor, you can read.
Thank you,
You
Chair.
can read the three queries,
Yeah.
and then the governor will respond to the three issues.
Then,
Then members, you can now raise queries and comments. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next query is number 4, misstatement of bank charges account amounts. Note 12 of the financial statements disclosed bank charges amount of Kenya shillings 471 and 62. However, the respective schedules disclosed bank charges of Kenya shillings 474, 428, resulting to a variance of Kenya shillings 3,365 that has not been reconciled and explained. Further, no supporting document was provided to support the bank charges amount of Kenya shillings 471,062 as disclosed in note 12 in the financial statements. The next, Chair, is number 6, misstatements in cash books. During the year under review, the fund management prepared cash books. However, the fund did not provide the petty cash book and portal survey certificates for confirmation of bank balance. In addition, an analysis revealed that the management spent Kenya shillings 4,243,000 on administration costs, while the Excel cash book had a balance of Kenya shillings 3,645,790, leading to a variance of Kenya shillings 597,210. Thank you, Chair.
So, honorable members, the first query is about compliance to the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board in terms of numbering of reports. The second query, misstatement of bank charges. There was a small variance of 3,365 shillings in terms of the bank charges in the schedules. And then the last misstatement of cash book, it means there was a misstatement of cash book amounting to 597,000. So, Governor, maybe you can respond to each of those queries.
Chairman, under query 1, the management response is that the error arose during the final compilation and printing of the financial statements. The omission is highly regrettable and will not occur again. The financial statements hereby annexed under Annexure 1 is the amended one. Under 4, misstatement of bank charges. The response, Chair, is that the variance arose from a clerical error during the preparation of the supporting schedules, where Kenya shillings 471 and 62 as evidenced by the bank statement.
Management did not comply with the reporting templates as at that time. Then the next on misstatement of bank charges amounts. Mr. Chairman, no evidence in the bank statements attached. Then finally, Mr. Chairman, number 6, misstatement in cash books. The Excel cash book was not accurate, and Board of Survey report and analysis cash book was not provided. Thank you, Chair.
Let me start with the members of the committee first, and then I will go to the friend of the committee. Senator Gov.Sang.
Chair, what the auditor is saying, after reading the question, the governor responded, and there are things the governor said they are already provided, and I thought the auditor was going to respond to what the governor said, but he has just repeated what he had said earlier. Because what he should have said then, they have already provided, in this particular, when we told them to come to the committee, but you didn't receive the documents during audit. This basically leading to late submission of documents. That's what I thought it will come from the auditor, but he has just repeated himself.
Any other from
Chair,
committee?
With all tremendous respect, I don't know whether the OAG is the witness or the governor, but that is a story for another day. Chair, what the clarity I needed through the governor is Kamel here, the fund administrator. Is Kamel Cheruta Talam. Governor?
No, she is not there. She left.
So who is she standing? She was here with us. She was here with us, Governor. She is also sick, or what is happening?
Point of order, Chair. Chair,
Yes.
I think, in all due respect to the Senator of Nandi, his line of questioning, I think he should allow the auditor first to respond to the concerns of the member.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Then, Chair, I also take offense. I was asking the auditor a question. And then the senator, who is a friend of the committee from Nandi, is asking who is supposed to be queried. The auditor also here needs to give us clarity. We are not relying only on the responses from the county. We also need the auditor to help the committee. So I take offense from what the senator from Nandi said.
Okay. Auditor, please respond to the senator from Elgeyo Marakwet.
Thank you, Chair. I'm saying that the presentation and disclosure of financial statements, actually financial statements cannot be amended once we are done with the audit, the certificate is out. That's what I'm saying, that management did not comply with the reporting templates. So that issue we can't resolve unless it's now up to the committee because the financial statements were wrong done and signed.
Okay, I think Senator Cherigay was trying to find out which accountant signed. Can you check your records and tell us?
No, Chair, I think I was finding out where is Kamel Talam, is the fund manager.
That was the fund manager then, but she left
So
the county. Now we have a new fund manager.
What is or his good name?
Kosgei, Nicholas Kosgei.
Or Nicholas Kosgei. So this Kamel left the county. The governor she no longer works. So Chair, I know if you have seen, and I hope the committee has noted this, that there is competency and capacity, but there are so many errors because presentation of financial statements, these are first year class of accounting. So Chair, now the immediate boss of SCAMEL was Chief Officer of Finance and Chief Officer of Governor. Who is the immediate boss of SCAMEL? Talam. Is it the CC Finance or the Chief Officer?
The Chief Officer.
Of Finance or Education?
administratively education, functionally finance.
Chair, because I see these are the same errors that can be traced back to FIF when they were doing, because presentation of financial statement should be something new. Governor, let me just ask a basic question. Do you have faith in the capacity and ability of your officers? Because looking at presentation and disclosure of financial statements, misstatement, and provision of documentation, do you have faith in the ability and capacity of your staff? Because you can see these small things, we should be discussing better things, as you have said. Do you have faith so that we don't waste a lot of time in the staff that work for you?
I have faith in them, but I also have faith in continuous improvement. So we have to continuously build and improve the capacity of our staff.
So if I ask you, with errors like the human error our brother talked about, presentation of disclosure, misstatement, are you willing to take administrative action against these officers for omitting basic errors?
Yes.
Okay. I think the committee can take it from there.
I think, honorable members, we, as I said earlier, we have had this problem with not just this fund, we have had it with the FIF and even the other funds. And Governor, you promised that you are going to do an improvement. And CEC, you also promised us. So I think we do not want a repeat of this in the next engagement we are going to have for 2024-2025. Otherwise, the committee is still left with the decision to make as to what they are going to do to the accountants involved.
Maybe, Chair, in addition, would the governor be kind enough to report back on the administrative action he has taken against the said officers before you do your report writing, so that when it comes to the floor and some of us read who are friends of the committee, we can be easier to have the last view of the action that the committee will take. Thank you.
In the previous engagement we had for Nandi, I think we gave them an opportunity to go and reorganize the team in the finance. And that reorganization, I think we give them a chance to prove, so that in the next financial year, 2024-2025, if this recurs, then we will know that very little was done, and someone will face an administrative process. Mark?
Yeah, maybe to further improve on management and to deal with the misstatements. The query on misstatement refers to Excel cash book, so maybe if they automated and were able to use a software, some of these challenges would be addressed. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking that is the governor has agreed that he will take administrative action. So as a reporting mechanism, he should be able to write back as by your direction in our previous engagement, where you are directed that administrative action be taken. So what I was requesting, and you are ruling, is that you direct the governor to report back on the action that you gave the ruling, maybe in the next coming days, I'm not saying immediate today, so that when your report will come to the floor, as the area senator would be able to track on what we had discussed before this committee. Thank you.
Well, administrative action, you know, many people think that administrative action is a punishment. It can also be training. It can also be reorganization. So I think in our interim recommendations, we can highlight that so that the governor can maybe in 30 days, you can tell us what administrative action you are taking.
You know, Chair,
administrative action is not necessarily punishment.
No. Chair,
yeah?
Some of us who did law, we beg to differ with you. Administrative, on a lighter note, does not mean retraining on capacity building. It is taking the disciplinary action against the state member. And that is why even in our parliamentary powers and privileges, the administrative action that can be taken against the member is to apologize, to be punished, to withdraw, to be fined. So, Chair, the retooling and retraining does not capture because the interpretation of administrative action in labor codes has been litigated on. But just that is for discussion, the terms of the interpretation of what administrative action is.
Okay, let me rephrase it and say this. Let me rephrase it so that we don't appear like we are contradicting what we had said earlier. We said earlier that we will allow the finance department under the governor to reorganize themselves through training or through getting the relevant qualified people to handle some of these assignments. And then they come back to us in writing about what they have done. I do not want to go into the aspect of administrative action because we have said the committee is going to make a decision on the issue of the accountants and section 62. Yeah, so I don't want to preempt what the committee is going to say.
I don't want to defy your ruling, but you know you are a very good neighbor.
Yeah.
Vihiga is neighboring Nandi. When you use the word that they might be unqualified people in office, I get worried. And you know, my people are well learned. In fact, among our subtribe, our community leads in most of the brilliant professionals. So I take an exception when you say, unless the governor confirms otherwise, to say they could be unqualified people in office, and therefore you are giving the chance CEC to get the qualified people. Maybe, Governor, you need to protect our county. You are leaving our county people to imagine that we have unqualified people in office.
No. but through you, Chair, the reason why the Chair is talking like that, Senator Chereka, is because there are many errors in the report, in the financial report. There are many errors. So these errors should not be coming. That's why the governor is talking like that. So if
the governor,
if they are all that qualified, then where are the errors coming from, Chereka?
Yes. So maybe, thank you, Senator Kavindo, through you, Chair, with the intelligence. Can the governor confirm? Because do we have unqualified people in these offices, Governor? No, Chair, that is a very serious statement because the jury is outside there. Because your words are so serious and it goes to answer.
No.
That you have directed the CCM to go and reorganize and get qualified people. So the reverse of that statement is the unqualified people that are committing these errors.
You see, as we have seen, you remember in the other report we did,
yes,
when we asked who is the accountant who signed, most of them were qualified ISPAC members.
Yes.
Qualified. But in the previous presentation by CEC, he indicated that they have a shortage. So they will try to see how to manage the few people they have and see how they can be reorganized so that we do not have these issues happening.
So we agree with you, Chair, in my own interpretation, that we have seen in both FI and Education Bursary Fund are professional misconduct because we have people who are qualified in office. They were just derelicting it. He will take administrative action. Then the committee will also give direction on that matter. The governor has been on record. But for the purposes, we have so many qualified people from my county.
Let's leave it there because we have said we are going to make a decision.
But I can see the governor wants to say something.
Don't block Chair, the Senator of Nandi has made, I rarely agree with him, but he has made a good defense of the county. So, and our...
For once, the governor is smiling.
So I agree. We have qualified people. I think, as I have indicated, administrative action includes what you said as chair, but also what Senator Chimera and Senator Gerard have said. So we are properly guided, Chair.
Okay, let's proceed to the next query. Unsupported committee seating allowance, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Unsupported committee seating allowances. The statement of financial performance reflects use of goods and services, amount of Kenya shillings 5,153,352, which included committee expenses amount of Kenya shillings 4,243,000, as disclosed in Note 12 to the financial statements. The expenses related to allowances paid to committee members while attending meetings and monitoring and evaluation exercises. However, allowances were not supported with invitation letters, meeting schedules, attendance register, and signed minutes of the meeting held. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I think that query is related to another query, honorable members, we had pointed out. Failure to deduct income tax from sitting allowance. So, Auditor, you can read that as well.
Number 3, and then number 1, under report on lawfulness, failure to deduct income tax from sitting allowance. The statement of financial performance reflects use of goods and services, amount of Kenya shillings 5,153,352, which includes committee expenses of Kenya shillings 4,243,000, as disclosed in Note 12 to the financial statements. However, the payment was made without effecting income tax deductions as required by Section 3, Subsection 2, and Cap 470, which provides that an employer paying emoluments should deduct therefrom the amount and account for tax thereon before the 10th day following the end of the month. The applicable tax at the rate of 30% amounts to Kenya shillings 1,004,687. Hence, the contravention of the tax may attract penalties in accordance with Section 72D and 94 of the Act. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. So, honorable members, this query, as we discussed, was an issue of the sitting allowance, which was not supported by any documentation. And then, again, they did not deduct the taxes for those sitting allowance. So, Governor, you can respond to the two queries.
Honorable Chair, the file with the necessary supporting documents with regard to query number 3, with the necessary supporting documents have been availed and they are attached in Annex 2. Of course, we admit that that was not provided at the time, at the right time. And also for audit number, query number 7, the management response has initiated an engagement with the Kenya Revenue Authority to agree on a payment plan on all the tax arrears. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Auditor, your comment on the response?
Thank you, Chair. The first one on sitting allowance, we have confirmed, the Chair, that they have the meeting minutes and, of course, the attendance register provided. So it's now for the committee to consider that. And then, Chair, however, of course, with the consensus that it was late submission, it was submitted later. So it's for the committee now to consider that. And then on failure to detect the income tax from sitting allowances, Chair, management, of course, has not complied with the Income Tax Act up to now. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Mbugu.
Thank you, Chair. Governor, you've said you are going to take action on some of your staff. I think the first person you need to consider is the person who represents you during the exit meetings with the auditors. Because some of these matters which are coming and you are here to answer them, they should not be here. The file has been provided. If it was provided to the auditors, then this query will not be here. So the person who represents you with those meetings is really letting you down, and I don't know who he is.
Yes, Chair. Senator Chimera.
Thank you, Chair. Two issues, Chair. Number one is on the issue of the documentation. Governor, I don't know why it is not possible when these guys are carrying the audit exercise, documents are suddenly not available. But when it comes to this committee, documents are available in bundles and bundles, Governor. So perhaps you might need to address that. And secondly, I feel your response on the issue of this income tax. And by the way, it speaks to the competence of your staff now again, because if staff at the county level cannot comply to very simple regulations like the income tax regulations, then that speaks to the quality of staff you have, which Senator Cherargei was really defending here. My issue is that the response is fairly...
And clarity, of the governor, I defended the people of Nandi by saying we have qualified people. Maybe the governor employed the wrong people. Thank you.
Okay, that is well noted. I also have an interest in that county, Chair, so my words will be measured today. The response by Governor, Chair, is very casual. You know, when you're telling us you've engaged KRA to agree on a payment plan, KRA is not the ones who received these allowances, Governor. What is the plan on the recipients of these allowances? Are they still receiving allowances with this income tax still pending? Are you paying them those allowances and then you have an agreement with KRA? We want to understand and hear what agreement is there to tangibly recover this tax that was erroneously paid to the recipients, being the committee members, and not what you agree with KRA. Thank you, Chair.
And Chair, also, what happens to the committee members who has already left the organization?
Chair, if you check the first response, you say there is an annex 2 detailing the directors or the board members who received the allowance, and members have said because the county should not pay on behalf of them. They should be having letters also writing to the committee members if they are still around, so that they can be recovered. Secondly, Honorable Chair, on 7, they are saying they have an agreement with KRA on a payment plan, but we have not seen any attachment here, Chair, showing any communication between the county and KRA, so that we can have some comfort that there is something that has been initiated, Chair. So where is the communication?
Let me give a chance to Governor to respond to that first set of questions, and then we can have a second set.
Before Governor responds, for KRA, for them to be able to negotiate with KRA on a payment plan, there has to be an issue where KRA is aware of this, and that's why Senator Kisang's question is very crucial. Is it that the governor is reporting himself to KRA, or there is any documentary evidence that KRA is well seized of this matter, and that's why they are agreeing on a payment plan? Otherwise, I feel this response should not even be in these documents, Chair. It is very casual. I mean, it is insulting the intelligence of this committee, Chair.
Okay. Governor, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Governor.
Get to him.
Yeah, Chair, kindly allow me to ask the CEC to respond on my behalf.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Governor, one, Chair, is that we have many obligations that are pending regarding KRA, and KRA are on a weekly basis in our office when we're trying to reconcile a number of the tax obligations that are due. So most of the meetings that we actually have, Chair, is that we do not necessarily take minutes, but all the issues that pertain to KRA are raised within that meeting. On this particular issue of the allowances is that one is that it's the obligation of the person receiving the funds to ensure that the tax is paid. But in this case, we are the withholding agent. So we didn't withhold as a government. And these committee members are still in office. So the recovery that will happen is from their allowances going forward. And KRA, definitely the only negotiation we would be having is that they waive the penalty so that then we're able to pay the full amount. The good thing, Chair, is that it's not so huge because we pay 10,000 to the committee members and the sittings are not so many. So as soon as we have the full computation and of what is due, then we'll be able to ask to share with KRA, and then they'll allow us to pay that less the penalties. Going forward in the subsequent sittings, the rule and the communication that we've made to the department is that they deduct the amount, the 30%, and pay the members net, and what has been deducted is sent to KRA. We'll check in case of any member who's left the committee. We confirm that no members left, all the members are still intact, so we are still able to recover from their subsequent earnings going forward. Thank you, Chair.
So, has that addressed all the questions that the members were asking?
Chair, through the governor, yes, indeed. Confirmation is that our last meeting last week, we were able to recover the tax and shall be forwarded to KRA. Thank you.
So there are two parts. There is the recovery of tax, which you can easily do, and you are saying you have done it. Maybe you need to give us the evidence that you have done it. And then there is the second bit of penalties, which you are engaging KRA. So again, it will be good to have that evidence, because it is not on the file. The evidence that you are engaging KRA and the evidence that you have paid the tax that was supposed to have been paid. It is not in your documents. So when are you going to provide that to us?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, indeed. With KRA, we usually have a physical meeting which is verbal. As soon as we agree, then they give us a letter. As soon as then we have the letter, it shows whatever is outstanding in form of withholding taxes, committee allowances. Perhaps that would be the document that would then be able to share with this committee as evidence.
Okay, but what do you say about the late submission of documents on the allowances?
On the issue of late submission, Chair, as really this has no defense. It's inexcusable. We, in the last presentation in this committee, we asked that we be given the 24-25 chance to prove that really a lot has happened in terms of ensuring that the team does what is required. And already the reorganization that has happened is such that most of the issues that ordinarily would make it in this to these queries are already being dealt with. Thank you.
Senator Kavindu?
Chair, I just want to ask through the governor, what made the people responsible not to hand over these documents to the Auditor General when they were at the audit? Because there is the entry meeting and the exit meeting, and in between there, I'm sure there are letters of communication for auditors asking for these documents. What made you not deliver the documents to them at the right time? Why should they follow later?
Thank you. Through the chair, through the governor, is that specifically on the issue of the education fund, the issues were a bit specific because whereas we still had the human resource audit, the staff that was affected, or no, of course the fund accountant was affected. There was also an element of the same staff apparently transitioning out of the county. So we learned with hindsight that perhaps those issues of engaging with a new organization may have affected her effectiveness in sorting this issue. Yeah, but really it's largely the issue of the distraction that we had with the staff audit.
Chair. Sorry.
Yeah, what do you mean the accountant was affected? Was he sacked or was he transferred to anywhere else? And you know, as you answer these questions, there is no vacuum in government offices.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the HR audit that was done by the PSC meant that we needed to regularize some of the hiring processes, and therefore any staff that perhaps was picked or whose files were picked that needed regularization really were not, then had to stay at home for purposes of the audit to take place. So that is the actual effect that happened. But of course, while being at home, some of the staff also got jobs elsewhere. So specifically, this one also managed to get opportunities elsewhere. So the interface between
the staff being engaged with the county issues vis-a-vis also the opportunities you're seeking elsewhere really affected the whole process of shepherding the audit.
Chair.
Come to Cherokee.
Now, Governor, thank you for handing over me to witness, the witness. Chair, and I want to beg the committee that I believe it is not about the lack of staffing. It's about the competence and ability of people working. Because if you have noted, these errors are so basic. In this financial year, the financial year that the staff was still intact. It is going by the audit that the governor did in 2024. And in that financial year, Chair, the governor spent 3.98 billion on wages, as per the Office of the Auditor General report. In that financial year, and it is even in the audit reports, and our brothers can confirm. So the issue, Chair, and I want to put it to the governor, it is not about lack of staff. It is about incompetence and ability. And it looks like the Nandi County is at an autopilot. Because you can see there is a lot of disconnect. If you ask a governor the question, he will just run to say lack of staff, lack of staff. You know, it doesn't make sense, Chair. Number one. Number two, I have seen this camel, Talam, has been given in the payment voucher that is annexed to that the good governor has given of 600,000. So I don't know, Kinoti and Kashanja, this voucher that has been provided of 600,000, what is the law? Can you give somebody money to go and take money on their behalf, go and pay another one? So you will highlight us. And then, Chair, this voucher that has been provided, it was collected by the chief officer and the fund manager. But in this voucher, there are things that are missing at the law that no one collected. There was no ID number, there was no amount, and the date. So we doubt the authenticity of this payment voucher, unless the people who took the money can swear an affidavit to veracity of this document. So this scammer went away with 600,000 from 7 to 8 December 2023. So, and I still believe the minutes, as my brother Senator Chimera, who is our in-law, has indicated that this is undermining the intelligence of the committee. Because if you look at it, all these issues, even there was the people that were paid, this schedule of attendance at Alliance Hotel, it was only a signature. There is no place that indicated that this money was received. You can see only it was the education scheme meeting, there was the chair ID number. I thought the proper way is people to sign for attendance and indicate the amount that were paid for. So the veracity of this document, and you know, Chair, the Section 62 of the Public Audits Act is very clear. Section 62. You should just invoke the punishment of lack of documentation. Because, Chair, we don't want cooking to happen so that people can appear before this committee. So this one should have been done. And then I've seen the receipt from Allen's accommodation for 2 days and meals that came to 280,000. Governor, is Allen's among the pre-qualified service providers to the county government of Nandi? And if so, where is the contract that you engage them if it is among the pre-qualified as part of the evidence? Because if you went and did accommodation for this committee for meals and conference without a pre-qualification of the hotel, then it is violating the procurement procedure. So can the governor provide the evidence of the contractual obligation and pre-qualification of this company? Governor, finally, I can see you are among the attendees on 6th and 8th December 2023, alongside CCM of Education and Finance. In this meeting, I can see all these people have been catered for at Royal City Hotel. Were you among the beneficiaries? Because you are among the attendees of that event. Because as by the law, you should be Was the accommodation and attendance provided for? And finally, Chair, also you can see voucher number 427, although it is unwritten, and this one is interesting. It says being payment of facilitating officer, clearing identification of beneficiaries for financial year 2023 as per the officer, which is unnamed, Chair, received 1,799,000. Then there is only the stamp of the education fund and the fund manager, but there are no details of the person who collected. So, Governor, this is your document after the minutes. If you will be kind enough to note that document. Who was being given this money? Forger number 427. Because we can only see the stamp, but not the details of the officer who picked 1.7 million. So who is this person? Is it still the same Kamel or a different person? Because in your earlier, Governor, in your earlier one of 600,000, it had been done and indicated the officer who picked the money of 600,000. And in fact, the forger number was 428, which is not unwritten, but on this one, it is unwritten of 427. And you have just saying being made to facilitate the officer. Who is this officer that is collecting 1.7 million, and where is she taking? And where is the schedule that shows that 1.7 million was given? Those will be my three questions. Chair, before the governor answers, I don't know, Kinoti and Mark, whether under the PMF Act, can somebody pick money on behalf of the people? I thought we had made a decision on the matter. Can I go today and pick the sitting allowances of this committee as a chair of this committee, which I am not, and then I come and give out? Does the law allow? Maybe you can go on record so that the people are aware. Chair, I think that's very serious. Imagine the chair going to pick committee sitting allowances on behalf of people.
For chair, we can allow, not you.
But usually,
Chair, we trust you.
No, sitting allowances, you know, Chimera is excited for things I don't know. I'm saying for sitting allowances. Let's listen from the Chinoti and you know, with the current fight against corruption in the country, you must be very careful. Maybe Mark and Kinoti can say something.
Mark, you can respond, and then let the governor respond also.
So, Chair, ideally what should happen when issuing of interest, each person should be able to collect their money, because the interest is issued to an individual. So when you surrender as an individual. That is as per the PFM, Chair, regulations. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, so you have, that is what I wanted. The law under interest is issued individual. And that is why when you travel or when you are doing county visit, it is issued individual. Sure. So that's why I was looking for this comment.
Chair, point of order, Chair. There's something that Senator is really, and I mean, for powers of indulgence, I agree with him. But then again, Chair, you know, this name Camel keeps on coming up many times, and I mean, the Senator is referring to that particular Camel. And you know, Senator is a lawyer, and I'm sure he knows something in law called principles of natural justice. This lady is not before this committee, Chair. And I think Governor has ably said that she left the fund as well, Chair. I don't know how we will proceed, and I seek your direction to that effect, because if she's not before this committee, Chair, and the good Senator keeps on referring to her, it is unfair to her wherever she is, Chair. We don't know how we will get her satisfactory responses as to these issues, and I doubt even Governor has the capacity to answer on her behalf, Chair. So maybe perhaps, Chair, you can give us direction as to how best we can proceed. On the issue of Camel not being present yet, we keep on referring to her, and the principle of natural justice protects her from these kind of issues, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, on your indulgence, just for clarity, because this is a discussion, Senator Kavindu had said there is no vacuum in office. When you take office, you take assets and liabilities. And the responses that we are considering here, the governor has won before. So anything that will come out of this conversation is the governor is under oath. So therefore, with all tremendous respect to my in-law, Senator Chimera, and we might end up, if he is not careful, I will talk to Wazir to increase the fine of paying extra dowry, Chair, because what we are saying is very simple. This Camel is the fund manager. She is the one who signed these financial statements. So is it the position of Senator Chimera that since Camel is not here and the governor has taken oath and has owned the responses, that we should not be considering the responses and the financial statement? I believe not. Okay. Because those offices exist in perpetuity and there are people already in offices.
Very well. Chair, as to authenticity of the document signed by Scamel, we can only get responses from that particular Scamel. And Chair, this committee has power to summon this particular Scamel. It is wrong to discuss how it is not here, Chair.
Honorable members, let us proceed with the issues in the
Correct.
query.
Correct.
The issues in the query, and let's avoid talking about witnesses who are not here, because the governor has taken an oath on behalf of the county.
Correct.
Very good. Yeah.
Correct.
So let us strictly adhere to the issues, and the governor will respond.
And Chair, note, all these responses are being signed by the fund manager, and that fund manager has a name. So it is up to the governor to guide the committee on his responses, because even, for example, in this payment voucher, it was picked by two people. Chief officer, which I believe she's here with us, and the fund manager. So one witness is already here, so we can still rely on that one witness.
The governor is going to guide us on how the questions are going to be responded to.
Yeah.
So let us give the governor, you have asked questions, let him respond, and he will guide us on how they are going to be responded.
Thank you, Chair. Just allow me again to ask the CEC Finance to respond.
Thank you, Governor. Through the Chair, on the two items, Chair, relating to the payment of the meeting allowance, Kenya shillings, where the request was made by the accountant. The schedule attached, Chair, shows exactly where the money went to. Part of it is the allowances to the NASEF committee, which were 2 days when they were considering whatever agenda was before them. The practice, Chair, has been oftentimes you find that the committee members, because again, if you are doing this outside the county, the transmission through the bank, of course, is the best practice, but sometimes they request that because of the time this may take to clear, they request that the same be had in form of cash. So usually we have a schedule showing the name of the committee member and the signing for each of the days and the amount, and then of course as they receive, they sign against the same. So whereas this is a case whereby money was advanced so that the payment is made to the respective beneficiaries, you can actually trace and see exactly where the final amount ended. Same case to the amount of Kenya shillings, 1.7.
Through the Chair, are you aware impressed is issued individually? So you are contravening the position of the law under the PMF Act.
Chair, I am aware through the Chair that yes, indeed, the person receiving the interest is the person who accounts for it. And actually in government, we encourage that it has to be an officer who receives the interest so that he accounts on behalf. So in this case, when you look at the schedule, beyond the interest, there are other items that could not be paid directly to the people. So it requires that an accountant would then have to account for it. So when you look at the 600,000, we still have the case of the meals and the conferences, printing and stationery. So the easier way is to advance an amount to an officer who is already in government system. Then the honors or the accounting aspect of it is on that person.
Chair, you know the MAC and the ESCC knows this challenge of imprest, where people are being issued imprest and then they end up misusing or generate even fake names. I can say, for example, Chair, that is why this issue is serious. CCM, now that we are speaking through the governor, in all this that the chief officer and fund manager have picked 600,000 and 1.7 million, although you have not told us who picked 1.7 million, I can see in your schedule, I'm just using your argument, in the attendance at Allen's Hotel, it is 24 people attended. The last person is Charles K. Top, sub-county admin. Then when you go to the allowances being paid, was Priska Chepchirchir, of course, CEO of Finance. When you go to the islands, and that is why I was saying this is cooking. This is cooking. Na hii imewekwa kachumbari chair. Because when you go to the receipt, Governor, you ended up paying for 25 people. Where did the extra 2 come from? That's why I was saying this thing is manufactured. And the person who manufactured, chair, thought that the committee is so busy, your committee is so busy until they cannot notice what my brother referred as human error. So could these 2 people human error in payment of 280,000? Chair, you know, in my culture, they say, it means somebody who wants to lie, they think they are smart until they are caught. So this receipt of the Allens, who are these 2 people? Because you have indicated 11 accommodation and 25. So what are these 1 to 2 people? Because there is no consistency in your attendance sheet. Is there proof of these 2 extra people? That is why, Chair, I'm saying these documents are manufactured, because that is why they cannot give to the office of the...
You have asked a question, Senator. Can you respond?
Can I finish? You laugh all the time, Governor. And we are ready to sit up to midnight. So what I'm saying, Governor, and allow me to finish. I will listen to your answer. Chair, that is why I am of perception that the reason the county did not provide documentation during the time of the audit is because they are aware the OAG is very keen. And that is why they thought by bringing this documentation to the committee, they imagined the committee will be too busy until they notice that inconsistent. So, Governor, is it the position that the reason you didn't provide documentation early to OAG is because you are aware that these documents were not available, somebody needed to manufacture, because the extra 1 or 2 people that you have indicated in Allen's
Can I just help and respond on that, the extra 2 people, and we are done? You know,
so, Chair, can I finish?
Yeah, finish.
Why is the governor in a hurry to answer if he has the answer?
I don't want this back and forth. Just finish your question.
That is why he should...
And then he will respond so that we make progress.
He should ask through you. That's why I'm speaking through you. So that is why I'm asking, even if these 2 extra people that came on board in the receipt, even if you want to say the driver is already here at number 22. So where did this... That is why I believe this document was manufactured. It was being provided for the committee. And Chair, Governor, as you answer on that, please provide us that this Allen's Hotel is among the pre-qualified service provider for the Nandi County government. Thank you, Chair.
You can respond to all those issues at once so that we make progress.
Allen's Hotel is a pre-qualified service provider, and if that I can confirm. If we need details and documents, we can provide, because that was not asked for in advance, but we can provide. And 2, when you have a committee, when you have a sitting, an extra 2 people are part of the secretariat of the fund. When you have a team and a meeting in a county, an extra 2, you will never miss an extra 2 members of support staff within a meeting supporting the event. So really, those extra 2 can only be part of the staff supporting the meeting. And the amount being paid there is 1,000 shillings. So really, these are staff, the support staff of a committee. I don't think that it would be fair to say we are manufacturing documents for just to have extra 2 staff or 2 members supporting the staff. So, Chair, I wish to submit.
Chair, let me pick from where my good friend Governor has left.
Yeah.
So if you are spending 2,000 shillings of public money, there is no need to account and for them to sign. Is that what the Governor is saying? Number 2, that's why I'm proving that this document was manufactured. In number 22, on the attendance of education attendance list of the Allen's Hotel, Priska Chepchirchir, which is CEO of Finance, somebody signed, but there is no ID number. That's why I still believe these are manufactured documents. Chair, can I just, I hope you are, Secretariat, I hope you have gone on record. George, I hope you are on record, because the governor says Secretariat should not, they should just be unseen, they should not eat, they should sleep in silence. So, Chair, can I, this is after the NASEF meeting allowances, the next document, look at number 22, Priska Chepchirchir, CEO of Finance. The part of the ID is empty, but the side. That is my strong reason that these documents were manufactured with an intent to mislead this committee. And Governor, you and me are public officers. Don't you think it is fair, even if you have come with your driver or PA, that if they are attending an official meeting like this, that you are catering for their accommodation, for their meals, and also for allowance of 1,000 you have said, don't you think it is fair in terms of probity, in terms of integrity of public funds, for them to sign even if it is 100 shillings? So, Chair, these are manufactured. There is no idea of the CEO of Finance, but it is signed. If it works like a duck, then it's a duck.
I think let me direct this, because this touches on Section 62 of the Public Audit Act. It's among the issues that the committee will engage on later as they do the report writing. Yeah, because the documents have been provided, yes, but they were provided after the audit. So we will make the determination.
Chair,
but we don't want to say that the documents are fake.
That is why I'm also
we have no capacity to
Chair,
determine
with your indulgence, I know you'll make a good governor in Vika. With your indulgence, can you also call in to question the veracity of the documents, inclusive of the late submission of documents, so that we can verify the authenticity of the document as you have directed? I yield. Thank you.
Chair, that is the work of the auditor. The auditor, you said you spend time looking through this document, and then you are satisfied with what was provided. In your own report here, I can see you are saying the matter has been addressed, though the documents were submitted late. So the auditor is the one who has the capacity to determine the accuracy of the documents before, not us.
Absolutely.
So the auditor, please say something on that.
And maybe, Chair, the Said Priska, who has been mentioned, is the chief officer. She is here. I mean, if it's about attendance of that meeting, she can confirm. If you can allow, she's
so
here.
auditor, just say something.
Maybe, Chair, before the CEO of Finance said she should be taken to oath.
No,
so
no.
that it becomes, no, I'm asking, I'm just borrowing from the governor. Just listen to me, Chair.
Yeah.
Because if she wants to be the witness, then she can take the oath, so that we can take it seriously. Chair, just in conclusion, so that as we have directed that this auditor, if you look at number 22, that's why I want to disapprove the governor and say this manufactured document. Number 22, Governor, I would like to request you, let's go to NASEF meeting allowances. Number 22, and committee members, bear with me. It says Unix Cherop is a secretariat. But the governor said secretariat were not included. So who is misleading who? This is, I'm willing to provide. It is it is annex number 2. After the one of 600,000, you go to the letter that was written by fund manager. Then the third, NASEF meeting allowances. You look at number 22, there is Eunice Cherop, who is a secretariat that was paid 2,000. So in fact, Governor, you are being unfair by paying other secretariat 1,000 each. You need to be fair. You need to be fair, Governor. Give kila mtu at least apate kama ni mbili ikuwe sawa.
Let's listen to the auditor.
Chair, it is here.
Yeah, we have seen it. We have seen it. But
Who is misleading who?
We have seen it. We have heard.
I don't want to use the word lie. Who is misleading?
Let's listen to the auditor. Let's listen to the auditor.
Thank you, Chair. When we verify documents, we just go for basic assurance. We believe that management initially and of course we saw that a BF number, and of course the first one didn't have a signature according to us who are verified, and so we are always skeptical. That's it. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, maybe moving forward, auditor, once you do your audit report and you issue a certificate, it means you can't reopen that audit. Maybe moving forward, you should insist that the documents are provided during the time of audit, so that you are not placed in a situation where you are supposed to determine the accuracy of the documents before you, and yet the documents were presented much later. So that way we will move better. Because here, members here, we don't have capacity to determine whether the documents are good or not. It is your job. It is not our job. So moving forward, maybe auditor, you need to insist on that. Yeah.
Chair, finally, on 1.7 million. This one, maybe, who should I, Chair, who picked this 1.7 million? Can the governor tell us, because he has all the officers, and I can see the fund manager and CEO, who picked this? Because I can see chief officer was there. Was it the chief officer? Number two, Chair, on lunch allowances during identification and compiling exercise. If you can go with me, auditor. I have seen the schedule that it comes to 1.79 million. But this money was issued again to other officers. So the initial officer, which is the chief officer, she seated here, and the fund manager were given 1.7 million. And then they went ahead and reissued to Barnabas Talam, which I believe is the sub-county admin or what, 7,000 at the rate of 1,000. So the question I have in all this identification process, is it still the impressed again? The impressed one are now being reissued to impress number two. And then that don't you find it interesting? Because the chief officer has picked 1.7. He writes a letter through the chief officer of, I think the chief, county secretary. And then that money is issued to the officers, and then they go and reissue for the lunch exercise that has been provided in this schedule. That is after 1.7 million. So, Governor, maybe since your officer is there, is she the one that picked 1.7 million? Because it is stamped.
Chair, let me ask the CC again to respond.
Thank you, Chair. And I want us to make progress, Senator Cherege, because we are past one, and we have two other queries to go. Yes. So let him respond comprehensively, and then we make progress.
But comprehensively, but satisfactory.
Thank you, Chair. I think I'll attempt to pick up from the 1.7 million. So when you look at the documents as they are sequentially, and the same documents that were presented to the auditor, is that this is a bursary identification exercise that takes 7 days. The team involved in that process, of course, other than the NASEF committee, we have our sub-county administrators, we have our ward administrators, and of course the team supporting the secretariat and the drivers. So just to give lunch is that for the 7 days, the staff, the county staff, are just given something for lunch, which in this case is 1,000 shillings for the 7 days. And the committee, because they're sitting one day to consider all that, they are given their full allowances. So there is a schedule there where Senator Cherargei is referring to, which tabulates to the 1.7 million shillings. It shows the ID numbers, and it shows the bank account through which the monies were deposited, adding up to the 1.7 million that was requested. Chair, of course, this fund is already a law that allows a certain percentage to be paid for allowances. These are exactly the kind of allowances that we contemplated when we set up the fund, and the queries as to whether we paid within the percentage. Yes, that is indeed the case. So if in terms of the satisfactory nature of what we would want to have the senator satisfied is that because we have all the original documents, we would still be willing to work step by step with the senator in ensuring that all the items that he's raising is satisfied with them. So yes, and also of course with the presence of the auditor. So this schedule, Chair, to just confirm is that this was submitted, the schedule was submitted to the bank, as you can see, signed off by the chief. This is a schedule being forwarded to the bank. Thank you.
Chair, maybe while I've seen this schedule, the totals up, where is the report mechanism that these individuals have received the money? Number one. Finally, on the final Chair, because this sitting allowances has been flagged by OAG, that it is justifiable within the reasoning of the law, but we in terms of uses of resources. So, Governor, the entitled individual has received that 1,000 shillings because it means a lot to them. If they are serving us in identifying beneficiaries, it is a very important person. So where is the report on that, or where was the sign? The way you have done with this attendance in the earlier one. Number two, and finally, Chair, this will be the final. My number 3 argument is that these documents are manufactured. You know why? I want to prove. Go with me to where the identification of bursary beneficiaries payment schedule, all the sub-counties. There is one that Scholastica has started. There is one Dr. Christopher Yeko has started. That is, they were 10 that was started, and they were paid an average of 10,000 shillings. It was never stamped. When you go to the other one, on all sub-counties, the CC education started with 7,000 shillings. It is only Director VTC that was given 42,000, but the rest were given 7,000. And it looks like it was inserted, this one. Chair, I want to shock you. The Secretariat, Eunice Cherop, who was part of the Secretariat, was appearing. But now 2 names have reappeared of Secretariat. That is Caroline Chepchumba and Eunice Cherop, which was in the previous. One. To show this document is forged and the authenticity and was mislead. No one has prepared, no one has approved. And this is their payment. This is their document. There is no name, and I'm happy the governor has prepared a very good payment forger. Very wonderful. With the logo of Department of Education, payment schedule. But at the end, apart from these all signatures and the ID numbers and what have you, even the secretaries are now 4. We have Caroline Chepkemba and Veronica Korir. So they are now 4 secretaries. But down here, although there is a logo here, Governor, you have prepared a very good document. You have said prepared by -- designation date and site. So this document, the authenticity is in question also, Chair.
Chair, point of order, Chair.
Direction on that the committee will
retire to make a decision on Section 62, and but the committee has no capacity to determine the accuracy of the documents. It is the role of the auditor. So for us, our focus will strictly be on Section 62.
Chairman.
So I want us to make progress.
Chair, before Governor speaks, I also want to remind you, Chair, with tremendous respect, that even the OAG has no capacity to documents are manufactured or not. We rely on Section 62, but then again, Chair, it is upon somebody called a document examiner, and that's not within our purview to order for that. So I don't know why this issue of documentation as to whether they're authentic or not is really taking much of our time, and you've actually pronounced yourself on the way forward. So, Chair, let's stick to your directions, Chair. If you say we will retreat as a committee, we go that way, we make progress, Chair, with this meeting today, Chair.
Yeah. But, Chair, to be fair to me, since I will not be sitting with you in the retreat, it is better if I go unanswered so that you will be reviewing what I put on
your points have been taken.
Okay.
Senator Cherengei, your points have been taken, just like the points from the governor team has been taken.
Chairman, when documents are provided, and as you have rightly put, the committee may not have the capacity to determine whether a document is genuine or not. But you have the powers to direct or to request any office or an office that has the capacity to do that to establish, and there, you know, the authenticity. But for our senator to go on record to say this is void, this is a fake document, that is being petty and being scandalous.
Okay.
And no, Chair.
And
it is.
I
have.
That's unparliamentary, and he was a member of parliament.
Oh, you have also used unparliamentary.
Which parliamentary one?
So
which
both
one?
of you.
Chair, which
so
one?
my request, Chair.
It cannot be petty. We are discussing. Governor cannot say this is petty when we are discussing 4.5 million, unless it's petty cash to him. But my people in
Chair,
Nandi, even 1,000 shillings.
Okay.
It's not petty. Then if it is petty, Chair, why would the OAG raise it?
Honorable Chair,
if it was petty, Governor, why would the OAG questioning the state allowances?
You realize I've given you leeway because you are the area senator. I've given you a lot of leeway. But let's have some decorum between.
No, but you should also direct the Chair. It will be in bad taste for Kenyans to be told that in PIC, the governor considered 4.5 million sitting allowance as petty and scandalous. That's very
It is the senator who is petty and scandalous, not the PIC,
we are not
the
Chair,
committee.
You need to protect me. I'm not on discussion. What is on discussion is the OAG report.
But we are discussing what you are saying.
Yeah,
what you are
OAG
saying is
report,
petty
Governor,
and scandalous.
Saying, no, Chair,
you have no capacity.
Chair,
you have no capacity.
Chair,
Honorable Governor.
Point of order, Chair.
You are allowing the governor to be
Point of order, Chair.
Oh.
Point of order.
What yes. Saying,
let me give.
Would I be allowed, Chair, to
Bishop?
Point of order.
We have Bishop here. Let me give.
Chair, in this committee, you should not allow exchange between the senator and the governor.
Yes.
We should give one another time to talk, and they should not be allowed to exchange words here.
Yeah.
But Chair, when I was speaking, when the senator was speaking,
Chair,
I kept my cool and I waited.
Chair,
listen,
I have been very measured with a lot of tremendous, Chair, with a lot of tremendous. I have been very measured in asking questions and clarifications.
Okay, very well.
And that is why, Chair, I'm asking the governor. Let me use an example. In one of his documents, which is not Cherargei's document, the CEO has not put ID number. Is that petty? And she has taken 8,000 shillings for sitting allowance. Is that petty?
Okay, very well. I've already, you know, we have already given a direction. We have already given a direction on this matter. I don't want it to be like a contest between you and governor. We have already, as a committee, we have already given direction on what we are going to do. Let me allow the governor to also say something, and then we move forward. We have two queries to go.
But Chair, you have allowed the senator to prosecute for almost 20, 30 minutes. I am just making one statement. He is
throwing tantrums and being juvenile.
Chair, you
It
can
needs to
see
be
you
fair.
are allowing the government
It needs to be
also.
fair.
I'm not throwing tantrums, Chair.
He's being juvenile.
No, Chair, you can see is now insulting, but you are allowing, Chair. You need to protect this committee. Chair, because if you are
you are on camera, both
no, Chair.
So the point
Chair, you cannot say I'm throwing tantrums or juvenile. Yet the question I'm asking is simple.
I have
said, why did the Chief Officer of Finance not provide ID document? Why did 1.7 million cannot be accounted for? Why did somebody pick? I didn't know that is throwing tantrums.
Chair.
And it is the audit report.
Honorable members, let's move to the next query.
Chair.
Let's move to the next query.
Chair, you should direct that
So then-
those words in the
So
answer
then,
should
Chair.
not appear.
Chair.
Because it's unfair.
You allowed.
The governor is tired, he no longer wants to answer
No,
questions.
Senator Cherege, you are a senior senator.
He continues to confirm that he's juvenile.
Yeah,
Who are saying, he just confirms.
But he's the most corrupt governor at the moment, Chair.
No.
He's the most corrupt.
No, you are out of order.
Chair.
You have allowed us names to be called, so I have a right also to
Chair, I think it's good to take
He's the
control.
incompetent governor.
Take control of the meeting, Chair.
Honorable members, you know we are in Senate.
The
We are
reason
guided
we
by
are
the
having these
standing
issues
order.
is because the governor is incompetent.
No,
That's
we
why
have
these
to stop
issues have
it.
been
Let's
raised.
move to the next query.
Yeah,
Auditor.
Chair, I think,
But
Chair,
you need to take
It's very
charge.
unfortunate.
Auditor, let's move
It is
to the
very
next query.
unfortunate, Chair.
And
Very sad.
confirm the person
You gave me the opportunity to conclude, Chair.
Chair,
the problem is that if you continue,
But can
it's
as the chair,
Yeah, you need
to
to protect
direct,
us.
look at the
You need
juvenile
to protect the members
senator.
of your committee.
You allowed him to talk,
Senator Cherege,
and I am keeping quiet.
By the way, you have
you are a
realized, in the
friend.
Chair, you have realized in the better part of the meeting, when governor has answered, I have agreed with some of the assertions he's making. But why is he doing now personal attacks? Because he knows the mess that is in this report that was generated by OAG, he cannot answer. That's why he has decided to gaslight the meeting. It is as simple as that.
I will give you closing remarks at the end of the meeting. So you
No, but on this one, Chair,
Yeah.
I think you would then be able to give guidance.
Yeah.
The claims that some documents are fake or manufactured, it is wrong for the senator to make that conclusion. You just ought to have directed as chair, you direct that the various institutions, whether it is OAG or whether it is a document examiner, to do that, to check, and then report to the committee.
Okay.
But to allow the senator to go on and say it is manufactured is what I'm telling you, that is being petty and juvenile.
Okay.
And I have said it, Chair, because we need to be fair.
I have not given you a chance.
No, but you cannot allow him to use such
Okay,
words,
I
Chair,
have not given
to
you
be
a chance.
fair.
Well, let me say
Chair,
this.
can you control the
Let me say this. We had directed that we will look at the provisions of Section 62 and that we have no capacity to determine the correctness of the documents before us. It is the OAG. So, because you are doubting the documents, I now direct the OAG to go and re-examine the documents.
Absolutely.
And come back to us. How much time do you need, the OAG?
Thank you, Chair. Before we move to that, these documents, according to us, Chair, are authentic because, one, when this payment schedule is not signed, you know, a payment schedule is just a support schedule to the payment forger. So we check on the payment forger, and then this is a support which can be supported or not supported.
Don't go into details.
Thank you,
I
Chair.
have
We
directed
need 1
you
week.
go and re-examine and come back to us. After how long?
1 week, Mr.
1
Chairman.
week.
And review
You
my
write to
answered
us
remarks
and
as
confirm that the documents are authentic or they are not authentic.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. No, we have to move. So let's move to the next query.
The next, Chair.
And confirmed bursary disbursement, which is related to the query on
number 9.
Query
Number 9.
on failure to publish list of beneficiaries. So you can read the two queries.
Thank you, Chair. And confirmed bursary disbursements, the statement of financial performance reflects bursary transfers of Kenya shillings 126,452,051 as disclosed in Note 10 to the financial statements. The expenditure related to bursary disbursements to students in universities, TVETs and colleges, secondary schools, and special needs institutions. However, disbursements of Kenya shillings 114,132,102 sent to multiple institutions were not supported by acknowledgement receipts from the receiving institutions. In addition, it was observed that the fund issues checks to individual beneficiary students instead of making lump sum transfers to the beneficiary institutions, thereby increasing administrative costs and the risk of funds not being used for the intended purposes. Next, Chair, is number 9 on the failure to publish list of beneficiaries. The statement of financial performance, and as disclosed in Note 10 and Note 11 to the financial statements, reflects expenditure of Kenya shillings 126,452,051 in respect of bursary transfers and Kenya shillings 1,176,533 in respect of scholarship grants, respectively. However, the management of the fund did not publish the list of successful beneficiaries on the county website as required by Section 29, Subsection 1E of the Nandi County Education Fund Act 2016, amended 2023. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, your management response?
With regard to unconfirmed bursary disbursements, Chair, the acknowledgement receipts from the receiving institutions were received, though some got in late. However, going forward, all the bursaries will be issued electronically through RTGS, where confirmations will be received as soon as the bank clears. This will also address the issue of lump sum payments. Some of the acknowledgement receipts are attached in Annex 6 and 4. And in terms of the response to query number 9, the omission arose from the delays in coordinating with the county ICT department for web content updates and verifications of the final beneficiary data before publication. This list, the list of all the beneficiaries for the year under review, has since been uploaded to the county official website, as indicated in that link, Chair. Thank you.
Auditor, your comments on the two responses?
Thank you, Chair. The first one on unconfirmed bursary disbursements, management is in agreement with our observation that they are not able to get all the acknowledgements. Then on number 9, on failure to publish list of beneficiaries, Chair, the website indicated where they are published. It was not, we didn't find it in the Google search engine, we didn't get it.
You know, we are in this committee and we have to comply with our own standing orders on how we operate. Start asking question or commenting when you are not, when you are the chair. Number 2, please address the chair so that we don't appear like we have a meeting where we have a chair, but members you are addressing the witness directly. And number 3, please make your questions shorter and precise so that we don't have a back and forth. Because we want to have an orderly meeting. So let me allow, first of all, members of the committee and then committee. Members of the committee, your question and comments. Senator Kisang.
Chair, on the first failure to publish the list of, oh, that's the last one actually. So I just wanted to find out from the governor. You know, the auditor said they have checked and it's not there. So I don't know, is your website online? Are we able to verify it now? because you know that is something that can be checked if it's online.
Yes, side. It's online.
Yeah, so maybe the auditor, where did you try to find it and you didn't get it? So maybe we can just check.
There's a website there, the given provided. This under their response. This is nandi.go.ke Departments of Education, Research and Vocational Training. So maybe
It starts with www.
it starts with HTTPS.
Maybe the clerk can check us.
Clerk, you can check for us. Any other question?
I don't know whether I don't know whether I got it right from the OAG. Are they satisfied with the response on the issue of unconfirmed bursary disbursements as done by the governor? If they are, we'll have no further questions.
OAG?
This is that
as I indicated, the challenge has been how do you ensure that bank checks are issued? Sometimes then you have to struggle with reconciling those processes. That is why we are now in discussions with our partners, the bank that we are, our banking partners, to have RTGS. RTGS will then mean that the money is, we give them the schedule and they are able to just directly transfer the money, and they are able to give us the confirmation or the evidence for the confirmation that the money has gone. That becomes easier because then you will just be dealing with the financial institutions in this case. So we have taken those strategies and mechanisms with the intent, based on the challenges that we have received before or that we have experienced before, in terms of ensuring that we are able to deal with this. So I think going forward, once we go in that manner of RTGS, we should be able to have all the confirmations, based on the banking institutions that we are working with.
Chair, can I do a follow-up question on that?
Yes.
Governor, that's good. No, but I'm seeing a situation whereby two institutions, the county and the banking institution, will be able to give evidence on the transactions that have gone in between the two. But now, where the question comes in is a reflection for the individual, the receipting for the individual students, to show that the county paid this amount of money to this institution. So who are the beneficiaries, and did they benefit? Did that reduce on their school payments, or did it clear their payments? The individual receipts of various students.
That is, Chair, once bursary has been awarded to a student, the receipt ordinary would then go to the parent of the institution, of the student who benefited. But then on our part, we are able to confirm that the money was transferred or was actually cleared by the bank to the beneficiary student. Then maybe then the gap, I see where you are coming from. Then the gap would then all these parents again, communicate back to us in terms of confirming that they got the bursary. What has always happened in our case is that when you do, because we do yearly, when you go for public participation this year, if there were issues in the subsequent public participation, people would raise it. But in situations where every beneficiary got their bursary, as you go back to the second public participation, generally the feeling is that you get is the satisfaction by the community saying that has happened. So maybe again that is a small gap that we may then need to confirm with discuss with our partners again and see how we can be able to address that. But then that is a smaller, because most of the students are beneficiaries from schools from within the county, and we are working together with as we do the identification of beneficiaries. We also sensitize schools that for purposes of closing accountability, we need them to confirm to us. So some have been doing, some again, if students are benefiting from KMTC in Nairobi, for example, or Homa Bay, there is a whole discussion as to whether the institution would want to incur an expense in sending you the documents. So it's a gap that we have to find a way of addressing. But I think the bigger one would be sorted out once it is RTGS, because then from the end of ensuring that the money has gone to the schools, you can confirm from the bank transfers. But then in terms of the beneficiary student, is then a gap that we have to continuously engage.
Sure. Yes, I just want to understand from the government if there's an issue that is very crucial that the AOG has raised. Are you still issuing checks to individual beneficiary students? Or what the audit query is all about? And if yes, what are you subsequently doing in the next financial year? Is that going to proceed? Or I've read your response and I've seen you are indicating that you'll be paying lump sum figures to the institution directly. And then again, why were checks issued in the first place to individual beneficiary students and not institutions? Auditor? It was to the government, not to the government. Oh, it was to the government. Okay. In our case, when you have several students who are beneficiaries of the fund of the bursary fund in one institution, we then have one check to the institution and the schedule, totaling up. But where you have one student, one institution, we are able to we then give the check to that institution, but with the name of the student, because he is one student per, a student in that one institution. So one check for that one student. But in all the others, we work with the lump sum checks. I want to understand something, Governor. This is Raphael Chimera studying Shimolatewa School, and I'm the only beneficiary in that institution. So the check from the county government of Nandi will be written that he is Raphael Chimera or my school. The school. So then you attach something that shows it is meant for me. Yeah. So when auditor, we have an issue with the wording on the query, because if I read it to you, auditor, your query says, in addition, it was observed that the fund issues checks to individual beneficiary students. If my 2-year-old son, wherever he is now, he can clearly see that he was paying monies directly to student X and not to an institution. So maybe perhaps you need to clarify on the query, because to me it appears like governor is paying individual checks to individual names. So a son somewhere gets a check, so we don't know, and it's actually a condition that you say you're not so sure whether there's a risk of funds not being used for the general purpose. So it seems they can be banking for other things and not for bursary. Thank you, Chair. And then, in addition to that, auditor, can we find out whether there were any unpresented checks, and whether some of those unpresented checks became stale checks? Because when you issue checks to individuals, that chance is there.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of, as the audit query read, that there are some who were given individual checks, Chair, the amount is 114 million. So it's true, there could be some. There are some which were issued to individuals, and as the governor has indicated, those ones where they gave a check, a lump sum with a schedule attached. So there's cases where individual checks were issued out of the 114 million. On the issue of unconfirmed unpresented checks, I've confirmed from the auditor, it's confirmed to me that there was no issue of unpresented checks. All of them have been presented, and there is no stale check noted in the financial statements. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I think Mark is also not coming out clearly. You know what Chimera is asking? A child who is in Form 1 or Form 2, Form 3, did you write the checks, the county write the checks to the child, to the student, or they wrote to the school, but it was given to the student with an attachment? You know, it's very clear. But the wording is, it's like William Kesal, who is studying in St. Patrick 10, and I'm 17 years, the check was written in my name or in the school. That's what Senator Jimera was asking.
Yes, Chair. The position is that, yes, there were some checks given as indicated, where there was one check to a school and attached to the list. But there are also other cases where there were individual checks to individual persons, Chair. So those two incidences happened.
Chair, a follow-up question on that. Because if this check is issued to a student's name, then where is the check going to be banked? The student doesn't have an account. Only the school has an account. And there is no way the check can be issued in the name of a student and be banked in the school's account. So there is something there. Can the auditor clarify this clearly?
Chair, you know this was my question, Chair. And now framers of the questions are framing their own questions, and they're reframing. But the auditor has no problem, by the way, Chair, completely. What the auditor has raised
is an open and shut question. And it is Mark's response. He says, in the course of doing the audit exercise, they interacted with checks that were issued to individual students. So that is clear, Chair. There's no other question there. So the OAG has nothing else to clarify. It is incumbent upon the governor now to clarify and respond why there are checks being written to individual students, beneficiaries. Are they county contractors? Are they being paid for supplying of something? You know, is it an educational bursary fund? And the governor was clear in his response again. He said that, and I raised an example, if Rafael Chimera, for instance, is in Shimolatewa school, and the only student benefiting that day, let me say he wrote a check to Shimolatewa school as the payee, and attached to my name as the beneficiary. So you see, the clarity is now not coming clearly there. But what the OAG is telling us is that they saw checks paid to individual students. So that's what the government needs to come clearly on the Chair. But it's not the OAG at all. Thank you.
That bit of checks being issued to individual students is an interesting one. Because the audit, I think you need to provide that information. Because if you look in the responses, I think Annex 4, it doesn't indicate anywhere where we had the individual beneficiaries. You can see schools, universities. Maybe auditor, I think you need to tell us more about that. It will be an interesting one.
Can we see that? Because I can't find it in this.
It's just the schools.
No, I mean the checks that are written to individuals. Can we see the list of it? What General can give us?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Issue 1, this that's like, in addition, it was observed that the fund issues checks to individual beneficiary students instead of making ransom transfers to the beneficiary institution, thereby increasing administrative costs. So Chair, management response is quiet on that. Maybe they need to respond fast. Then we will give, because for us we have the information, for them to approve their documents. I also know that we have our documents back in the office, so they need to respond to this portion of the question.
Yeah, because as students, how many students have bank accounts? The chair respond.
The response of the county is that there is no check that is given to a student, because practically that is not even possible, because how then would a student actualize the bursary if it is written in their name? It's not possible. So for us, there is no beneficiary for bursary that will go to an individual, and therefore for the assertion by the auditor, unless they are able to provide any one or any check of that, but for us it does not make, it's not possible to even deal, because I mean these are individual students, minors,
Chair, I'll give you a chance. We are still on the OAG. Yeah, I'll give you a chance. OAG, please. If you need more time, we can give you more time to come back to us with a list of direct beneficiary who are students. Because as Senator Mugama is saying, it would be interesting to know that. How did they actualize that bursary? And who are they? And of what value? Those are the questions we will be interested.
Yeah, and Chair, actually, that's why I say the Auditor General should clarify this. Because if it is there, then there is something very fishy somewhere. Because how can a student receive a check directly? And that check is being paid for school fees at the school. So, Chair, it's good for this to be clarified. Thank you.
to our auditor, do we need more time to give us that information, or to verify, or to confirm, or to find it otherwise?
Yes, Chair, I need like also 1 week in addition to the other issue. I confirm on this part of the issue.
Okay, so we give you 7 days, please confirm, and when you confirm, give us the full list. If you find that your assertion was not correct, also advise us. Because either way, even if I wanted to take money from Bursary, how will I take by writing a check to someone? Unless it is not a student. I mean, it's something that we need to find more about it. Senator Cheregi.
Thank you, Chair, for handing over to me the witness. So I want to...
I'm not handing over you. remember the rules. Address the chair.
Thank you, Chair. Of course, I yield through you, Chair. I yield.
Point of order, Chair. Why is the senator using intimidating language against him? We are a friendly committee. We just want responses. If you say you're handing over the witness to me, intimidating the government.
But it doesn't look intimidating. Now, the point I wanted to make, I want to leave where Governor said. And that is why I agree with OAG on this authenticity of this 114,132,102 bursary. I didn't get the governor because in this question on unconfirmed bursary disbursements, I didn't get the part of the governor on issuing direct to the institutions. And the response of the governor is saying is proposing to do RTGS. So the question is, in the act that was passed by Nandi County Assembly, is the provision of using, the law can be different, it can reflect something else. So I really want to note that aspect. Number 2, Governor said he is yet to get acknowledgement receipts. So my question, Governor, when you are dispersing bursary, you knew you were dispersing to. So to get acknowledgement would be easy, because you knew you gave to Godfrey in Vihiga High School. It is easy to track because I know. So it's like they are shooting in the dark by governor saying us.
Say the chair is a student.
No, when you are a student, I'm just using for purposes of illustration. For illustration, let me use myself. For example, chair, can I be protected from the Senator of Machakos? And I don't know why she is excessively happy today. So the point I want to make today, for example, when you are in Machakos High School, and then I think it is easy to do follow-up because 1, you have a committee, 2, you have the disbursement committee, you have the people you disperse to. So by the time the OAG is asking for acknowledgement, which you have said you have not received, or it would be easy to tell the High School, you can, and the formal should be provide us with the acknowledgement of what we paid to your institution for student XY, which has been missing. So Governor, why has it taken long? It is now, we are now in the second financial year under review after 23-24. Why has it taken long? That is my question number 2. Number 3, Chair, that is why on the aspect of lump sum transfers, I think I had asked that one number in this, the unpublished list of beneficiaries, which is, I think they were 1,176,533. But the chairperson, through you, Chair, you are an IT guru. You have told us you cannot trace that website. Or has it been traced?
The clerk has managed to get the website.
Have you managed to get
they have confirmed
how many are in contact?
Clerk, please.
Maybe you can go on record.
Okay, the website provides the list of beneficiaries, the details of the institutions and the amount that are disbursed.
What about the total number? Because the auditor is talking about 1,176,573. Does it tally?
Okay. It's a long list, huh? I'm trying to scroll down.
Yeah, as you tally up, let me leave that one, I'll come back to it. So my number 3 until unconfirmed bursary disbursements. So, Governor, in your own assessment, did the intended beneficiaries get this 114,132,102? Now that you are saying you are yet to receive the total acknowledgement receipts from the receiving institutions. That is number 3 question. And finally, is this amount that you have indicated here, is it only financed through the budget that is appropriated by the county assembly, or there are grants or donations from other actors? And who are these actors and by how much? In this financial year, because I can see this disbursement of 114 million, there were 126 million on the transfer in note number 10, which I have seen in your financial statement. In this 114, 132, 102. Can you segregate before this committee and say, in secondary school, we gave 100 students, in universities we gave 1,000, in TVETs, and I don't know what you mean by TVETs. Does it include the youth polytechnics and TVETs? Because I have seen in one of your response, you have paid bursary for one student in assist driving. So what do you mean? Does TVET include the colleges, the youth polytechnics, and is it the national polytechnics? So can you give us the segregation of the beneficiaries of those who received their disbursement? And finally, Chair, on this issue of OAG, it will be very interesting to get a report so that we get clarity on this issuance of checks. Because Chair, not to vary you, we really want to know. I know, by the way, and I was telling my young brother Chimel, that audit is not an event, it is a process. By the time an audit report is generated, it has gone through many phases. So by the fact that in the audit report the OAG is pointing out something, then we need to look at the audit, the notes that were being used for the audit, so that we can check. I really want to know, why would the county government issue allegedly these checks to individual students? So, Chair, that will be my 4 questions.
Good. Who comes first, the auditor? And then I can give the governor. The questions were directed. Or the questions were directed to the governor. Good, Governor. As I indicated, in terms of getting confirmation, is that when you issue out bursary and throughout the process of identification and the students have been identified and the checks have been written, even where you have lump sum a lump sum check for a number of students, these sometimes, I mean, the process has always been that the beneficiaries pick the check and they drop the check in school. Once they drop in school, the process is that you expect them, the school, once they bank the check, then they are able to either respond to us directly with the confirmation that they have, that indeed they have received the money for the students that were identified, or in other cases, you have also the beneficiaries bringing that confirmation slip to us. When you look at the sheer numbers we are dealing with here, you know, we are dealing about, the beneficiaries are about 12,000, in excess of 12,000. And therefore, sometimes then you have a challenge of getting all of them at the same time. We have sent our staff and our staff, especially for schools within the county, it's easier to send around the staff to collect those confirmations. But where you have a student who is benefiting, for example, and is a student in KMTC, for example, in Lodwar, or KMTC in Migori, or KMTC somewhere else, sometimes it is difficult for you to get those confirmations. And that is why we are saying that, you know, our strategies, we are trying to find means and ways of ensuring that you lessen that challenge by, for example, going through RTGS. And the question that was asked whether the law allows RTGS or through checks is just a form of payment, you know, or a form of disbursement. The law does not prescribe any particular format, it just allows you to do. So I think that is an administrative decision that you can make based on the challenges that we have incurred before. So those situations are common where, you know, a student has received, even if you are talking about a student who is in the last last year of study, once they benefited from the bursary, they may not even see the need to actually take the trouble of getting the confirmation and bringing to the school. Sometimes that cost of telling the school, can you please send us those documents? Sometimes the school may, you know, because there is no serious obligation on their part, we only persuade them to help us with those confirmation. But we think that when we go through the RTGS way, we may lessen that challenge. Again, in terms of the category segregation, the law the bursary law provides as to the percentages of the bursary allocation based on secondary. We have 50% goes to secondary, VTCs and 25%. Special needs student 10% and the university is 15%. So in that list of the 12 or over 12,000 beneficiaries, it is clear, you know, those segregation in terms of the percentages. And if you look at the list of the beneficiaries, it clearly indicates that it's possible to provide. This bursary fund, as at now, is only supported by the county budget. We do not have as yet any of the external support into the fund. Of course, we have partners that are working within the county and they give directly, you know, like we have KCB working with directly with the students and the institutions. So this is a fund supported 100% by the county. Again, that list of beneficiaries, again, is a bulky document, but it's actually online as indicated, so that can be confirmed. Thank you.
Good. Just finally, Chair.
Finally, because we are tired.
I've heard Governor talking about 12,000. I thought, Governor, you had requested us that we discuss things that are within us. So I think the issue we are discussing is on the veracity of this 1,705.33. You have painted the problem, but you are not giving us the solution. I agree there could be students all over the country. But if you had developed a strategy of identifying bursary beneficiaries, why is it hard to get the acknowledgements of the receipts? Because the more you don't get it, the more it will become an audit query, because the auditor will just want to see the acknowledgement receipt of maybe Muranga University or Lodwa, as you have said, or Migori. So what have you put in place to ensure, because this will reduce the lawfulness and effectiveness and reduce the risk of this money getting into the wrong hands. So what is it that you have put in place?
Governor, you don't have to explain too much. Yes. I believe you have picked the question. Governor, please respond.
Can I finish, Chair?
You want to add, because you are elaborating instead of just, it is just, you've been here from 10 o'clock. Some of us are already.
I'm asking, Chair.
Yes, so.
I thought the parliamentary business ends at 5 or 6:30. But on a lighter note,
no,
so Chair, on Chair, that is one further clarification.
You are lucky.
Number 2, I cannot be lucky, we are doing oversight. You know, if we don't do this, Chair, we'll be accused elsewhere that we are doing.
You said you have one question. So
so number 2, so Governor, tell us what you are doing to get these receipts, because this issue is still coming up. Because the moment you have not received the acknowledgement receipts from the receiving entity, it will be easy. And on this issue of RTGS, Governor, which are these banks that you are engaging with? And is there a memorandum of understanding between these banks? Because you know the law. The law is very clear. When you are spending public money, you must do it officially and by writing. Because if you don't do that, the OAG will come back in this financial year and say you are using RTGS before that collaboration. So is there an MOU, and which banks are these? Thank you, Chair.
Good, Governor. And I'll give my colleagues the opportunity after you for closing remarks. So there will be no more questions. So as I have indicated, really, it's it's a process that we have to work on. You know, we may not achieve perfection, but if you look at, if we shift, for example, to RTGS, if that works, it solves the problem to a larger extent. You know, so for us, really, we are trying to find mechanisms and means of dealing with this situation. Of course, knowing that even the institution that is benefiting from the bursary, we have no serious, legal way to enforce, since that they give us those receipts. Really, it's based on goodwill, because the responsibility is not really strictly on them. But we think that these new strategies will help us. And again, if, for example, the senator would have an idea of how better to do it, because we are open, we are trying to find mechanisms of making this process a lot easier. That should be able to work for us. The banks that we are using are the existing banking partners, Equity Bank, KCB. So we already have, the law was already followed in terms of establishing or setting up an account in any commercial bank. Those regulations are provided for under the PFM Act, and we have agreed. Shifting from, for example, using checks to RTGS is not any major shift. It's just an administrative direction that we take ourselves, and we instruct our bank to handle it in the manner in which we have directed them to do it. So we think that, based on all these challenges that we continue to face, our strategies are seeking to address those challenges, so that then we have a more smooth process of ensuring that our bursary disbursements is smooth and more clear. So I think we'll leave it at that, Chair.
Good. Yes, Chair. Okay. So, since this issue of publishing list of beneficiaries, apart from publishing in the website, Governor, where else do you publish, so that there is what we call social audit? The people of Nandi does not need to know AG or to access, because the usage, you are the ICT chairman in the last session. The usage of access to internet and mobile might not be as high as in Nairobi. So what this identification committee, is there a report back mechanism? And you have been a member of National Assembly, that in the village Y, for example, Kapkemen, where I come from, or Chepketemon, where I come from, the person in charge of disbursement can say, family XY received this amount for the bursary for audit and accountability.
Great, Governor. What the senator from Nandi is asking you, is there a notice board, or what do you have, so that there are notice boards in the county education department? There are also, these documents are provided at the sub-county offices. They are also at the ward offices, and also the MCS offices, are available. And since, the process of identification is done at the ward level through public participation, those lists are always available. And even the issuance of the picking of the checks are always done at the county offices, so that then those who benefited, they come and they pick the checks, so the list is available across, and of course now it is also available at the website.
Chair, in 8.0, excessive expenditure of administrative expenses, which is part of the audit. Governor, apart from the
ask for permission first, right when you opportunity, I'd say, if you remember, I'd say that was the last question, and we were going to give members to give their last remarks, unless that is what from what the chairman is saying.
Okay.
So I want to give members closing remarks, and then you'll be the last one, and then I'll give the governor.
Chair, can I use my closing remarks to ask a question?
Yes.
Then I'll be gladly taken.
Yeah, good.
So on this one,
no, I'm not giving you. You are the last members.
But we give so that the governor does not lose the train. We finish so that it will be fair to him also. So
okay, that's the last. Because there's something I wanted to say, but I will say it elsewhere later on. We have not, since 10 o'clock, Senator, we have not taken health break. And some of the things we have told the auditor to give us in 7 days. So maybe just say now, as you said, let me say that was a remarks because we don't want to open anymore.
But yeah, in future also, be kind of friends of the committee, how committee operates so that we prepare to go. Yes. Thank you. So, Governor, on this excessive expenditure on administrative expense, so I thank you, Chair, because after the feedback of OAG, the committee will write report on this disbursement of bursary. Because it's a very serious issue in Nandi. Number two, I have seen a response on justification of using excess on printing stationery, apart from the committee allowances of 500,000. Governor, this one you are using in printing and stationery, you have violated the Public Finance Management Act. This 500,000 I've seen you are giving every student 10,000 shillings. So if this 500,000 was to be used well, how many students would that be? For the I don't want to ask CPA 3.1% of the approved budget of 150 million for the year under review. So Governor, what was the justification now that you are proposing to use technology? And Chair, I know you looked at that question. The OAG has flagged the weakness of use of ICT. So if the county had a functional ICT, you don't need to print papers and stationery worth 500,000. So what is the governor doing to ensure the enhancement of ICT and give us as justifiable that you went beyond the 3% that is recommended for stationery and the printing of 439,920? Yield, Chair.
Good, Governor. And then, so that we can do remarks from the members of the committee. I agree, as indicated, the Chair, we have the level of documents being printed is enormous. 30 wards, over 12,000 beneficiaries, ensuring that every ward has and the sub-county has a list which then supports the same accountability mechanism is what has led us to that small increase, and that increase is an extra 150,000 actually beyond the threshold, the percentage. But again, as we have indicated, we are going to ensure that that does not happen in future because we want to strictly adhere to the set percentage within the law. So it's in the furtherance of ensuring that we have more accountability, that actually the documents are available and that our members of the public can be able to access and confirm the beneficiaries. Thank you, Chair.
Good, members. Any member who has any issue? Buko?
Chair, I'm still no.
Buko.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe my closing remarks, Governor. I would want you to tell this committee what your county is doing to address this issue. You know, the recent conversation about bursaries in the country and the stalemate you've been having with the COB. You can just tell us how far Nandi County has gone to comply with the same. Thank you.
Senator Chimera.
The chairman is to sincerely appreciate the governor for taking time off his very, very busy schedule to appear before us and for staying true to Article 96.3, Governor, of the Constitution by actually adhering to this committee, because now we have a national discourse on whether governors should appear before the Senate or not. But I'm happy you took time to come. Let me also congratulate you for the good job you're doing in Nandi. I am pretty much well aware of being a third party from Nandi County. Just to urge you on the issue of the bursary, especially on those checks that have been a bit contentious,
kila mmoja afanye ile kazi ambayo anastahili kufanya, jinsi anavyostahili kufanya, than you coming here to be asked questions about irregularities and things that was not done in good time, and also giving the reports to the Auditor General in good time than following with the documents later, because that is not according to the law, and there is a fine of 5,000 or 5 million? 5 million or 3 years jail, or both. So we don't want to go that direction, but kind of let them work and do